welcome to the Poleshift News, the home of the Maverickstar Observatory. Guys, we've got some interesting facts coming up on just 3 major anomalies that are taking place right now, so stay tuned for that. But as always, guys, big thanks to those of you that support us. You may have noticed yesterday we crept over 25,000 subscribers. This, for me, guys, has been a bit of a milestone. As some of you know, we've been doing this now for about 8 years on YouTube. I think we had one channel which was taken down when we monetized it around 4 years ago, and it's taken nearly 4 years to build it back up to this amount now. I think at the highest peak of the last channel we had around 15,000, so you know, to get to 25,000 is a massive milestone for us. Just a few things. This year, you know, things have taken, you know, a little acceleration for the observatory. We sent out some magnetometers all around the world, and we started to include that on the website. So we now focus on the epicenters of the poles, which are over the northern hemisphere and over the southern hemisphere. And there's more, as you guys know, to go out, hopefully, into South America, so we can monitor that low magnetic intensity around the planet. Because as you guys know, one of the main anomalies that is taking place, and one of the rarest events that is taking place in our world today, is the magnetic pole reversal, and we focus on that on our website and mostly on this channel. But there are some other anomalies which you might find interesting, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. So, you know, we're nearly at the end of the month, guys, and you know, I just don't want to have another catastrophe like we did the last 2 months, where we hardly, you know, covered the X's on the channel. So if we could just say to you guys out there, you know, we're trying to do everything we can. We've got some plans for the end of September, which I think you're going to be really interested in. But you know, if we can just raise, you know, a certain amount every month, we can keep doing what we're doing here on the observatory, because now more than ever we're spending more money than we ever have done on here. So if we could just encourage a few more guys, I mean, it's less than 200 people, believe it or not, out of 25,000 that actually, you know, chip into a little bit of the work that goes on here, and we're just trying to make it each time a little bit more professional. And we will, guys, in time it will get better. You know, I have ordered some radio mics and collar mics, so I can take you out into the field at the end of September, and we can have a look at some geological you know, events that have happened in the history of this country. We may go over to Ireland as well, have a look at the Giants of Causeway, and just talk about some of the structures there, which have always fascinated me, and I would love to talk about those. So, you know, it's down to just raising some money to make this happen, that's all. And like I say, we've got a couple of days left in the month, and that can really make a difference if somebody chips in and helps. Okay, let's get on with these 3 major anomalies then that we're talking about, that is taking place in our time right now, and let's focus on them. And I think you're going to be surprised with the outcome of some of the data that we've got. So the next anomaly that we'll look at is volcanoes that are in eruption. They are currently erupting right now, and there's a good reason why I do that, is because we could look at ones that are in stage of eruption or that have erupted recently. But I think if you're going to count something in statistics, you might as well count the statistics that have actually happened or are happening right now. So for this case, you know, if we imagine we're not going to count the car crashes that are about to happen, we're going to count the ones that have actually happened. So in this case, today, there are 16 volcanoes that are in eruption right now. And this is going to surprise you, because if we look just over a year ago at the amount of volcanoes that are erupting, would you think that there was more or less? Well, let's have a look. So here it is, guys, right before your eyes. I would thought that there'd been more, but there is actually less today than there was a year ago. In fact, 50% nearly reduction in the amount that are in eruption. Can you believe that? What is going on with the core of our Earth? Is something slowing down? Is there major changes taking place? Earthquakes, more than ever, on the highest amount of magnitude recorded since 2000. We've got a slowing down of the eruptions of volcanoes as you can see from today, and I've been accused a couple of months ago of cherry picking the days. Well, you know, guys, just go on to you know, the website that's on the top of the screen, and you can check for yourselves, you know, from week to week if you want. It's not really worth doing it week to week. Do it every month and you'll get an idea as to what's happening, and I think you'll come back and agree with me that something definitely with regards to erupting volcanoes is slowing down. Although there are a lot of websites out there and some YouTube channels which would like you to believe that there is more erupting, but there isn't, clearly, and this is the facts. And last but not least, my favourite anomaly, as you guys know, the pole migration of the planet. Let's just look at this chart, because I think that this should make the hair stand up on the back of your necks, because if we look since 1990, we can see a massive acceleration of the magnetic pole migrating, covering more distance in shorter space of time than it ever has done. If we just go back from 1990 to 1900, that's 90 years. And if you look at the chart, the magnetic pole had only migrated 500 miles in 90 years. 30 years on from then, guys, to 2019, the magnetic pole has migrated over 1,000 miles in 30 years alone. That is 3 times faster than what it did do previously. Let's just put some of these things into perspective. Earthquakes, the most largest earthquakes ever recorded, have happened since 2000. 12 months ago, we had more active erupting volcanoes, and we got 50% less in just 12 months. And we have this accelerating magnetic North Pole. How much more time before that actually goes vertical on this chart, guys? Well, as you know, in the last 3 months, our TriMag data has been detecting some unusual behaviour. The pole has been migrating backwards and forwards over 250 miles. We're only 250 miles from that 40-degree mark. According to our experiments, when the poles go into the 40-degree mark or surpass that region, they go into the weak field lines and then they migrate. And we're probably about 4 to 7 years away from a pole reversal on this planet. But this isn't all, guys. These 3 anomalies that we've just touched on today are not the only anomalies that are taking place on our Earth, because there are others which affect us and more related to us every day. And that is primarily a result of the magnetic North Pole migrating. Now, these 3 anomalies that we've talked about are all related. Whatever is taking effect beneath our feet is affecting all 3 of them. Remember, the magneto that generates the magnetosphere is in the core of the Earth. And a lot of this activity with relation to tectonic plates regarding earthquakes stems from what is beneath our feet and in the core, and likewise with those erupting volcanoes. But like I said, it is affecting the climate. We have more cosmic radiation inbound, and these are all anomalies that add to this, guys, and it gets really hard for us to decipher what is actually on the horizon in the near future. And that's what we're focusing on from now on with our observatory. We're going to start putting together a web page so that we can monitor the actual cosmic radiation inbound and background radiation, see if it's increasing. And we can do that on a monthly basis, and we can put the data up on a single page so that we can find out exactly how much radiation is increasing within our atmosphere and around ourselves. We're also going to be looking at some of the things we can do ourselves to protect ourselves from this harmful cosmic radiation. And I'll just say this, one thing that we can do, guys, is increase our daily intake of antioxidants. And the reason for that is because antioxidants will slow the cellular reproduction down, and it will prevent these cosmic radiation damaging the deoxyribonucleic acid, or the DNA. Antioxidants slow down the cell reproduction, and if there is a bit of damage, it gives it an extra bit of time to repair itself, and that might prevent cancer. So one thing we can do is take natural antioxidants and, this is something for us to look into. What are the most powerful antioxidants we can get our hands on and take? Or if just those antioxidants are already in our pantries and our cupboards already, we could just probably take more of the ones that are more beneficial for us. So there are things that we can do. There isn't much we can do about probably the weakening of the magnetosphere right now. Maybe if we hadn't have invested so many trillions and trillions of pounds in equipment to kill each other around the world in wars, we may well have focused on what we could do to repair, you know, the magnetosphere weakening and protect ourselves. But we've been a bit silly with what we've done with our money over the years. You know, our governments have squandered it on machinery to cause harm as opposed to preventing harm being caused. You know, we have the technology, I'll tell you that now, guys, to have done something about this years ago if we hadn't have been concentrating on stealing each other's wealth around the world and trying to conquer each other's countries and, you know, interfering in foreign policies with other countries as well. We could have probably invested in something that could have repaired our own magnetosphere at this time. So it's probably a little bit too late, but I have had some good ideas. Someone asked the question, what could we do to repair it? Peter in Australia, he said, what could we do to repair the magnetosphere? I said, well, you know, perhaps just off the top of my head, we could spray dust into the lower orbit of our Earth, around the Earth, above the atmosphere, and perhaps that might block some out. You know, just an idea. But I do know of a way of generating ions, which are small particles that we could direct. And, you know, if there was any inbound cosmic radiation, we could direct these ions that we could generate at those particles and try and deflect them away. That's one thing we could have done. And we could probably, you know, set up a little experiment where I'll show you actually how you can create ion wind. Some of you may already know, but, you know, it might be an experiment for later on. I mean, the only problem is with this is it could be very, very energy consuming. That's the problem. And if you wanted to protect your house with some sort of shield above it, it is possible, guys. But I'm just saying at a cost. That's the only thing. There's some of the things we can look at a later date. But you know what, guys? More importantly, we are in a magnetic pole reversal. And I think that this affects us more than anything, any other anomaly on this planet. And yet, it seems to be interconnected and woven into all those other anomalies, like the jet streams, you know, the flooding, you know, the creation of more water in our atmosphere, which really is what we touched on in the video, the last one, about the greenhouse gas. One of the most abundant greenhouse gases simply does not get talked about because of the agenda to make money out of the general public and the taxpayers. It's, you know, over $1 trillion has been scammed from global taxpayers. Can you believe it? But anyhow, guys, you know, I just wanted to bring a little bit of information on those 3 anomalies, just those 3 today, and, you know, give you a little bit of food for thought. But really, as you can see from this chart, the most important to mankind to this date anomaly that is taking place is the magnetic migration of this Earth. And we have no recorded data on the previous ones because simply we weren't collecting any data then. And it's back. It's at our front doors. Probably 4 to 7 years time we're going to go for a reversal, and for the first time in human recorded history we are going to know what to expect as it happens, and maybe we can have some predictive data that will give us an idea as to what to see in the future. Maybe, guys, that's what we hope. That's why we collect the data here at the maverickstar observatory. So, you know, just quickly mention that, you know, we're at the 29th of the month. There's a couple of days left. If we can raise some cash, you know, just to see if we can bump up what we've raised this month, that would be great. You know, the links are down there if you want. You know, there are a lot worse things you can do, guys, than support an observatory covering one of the most major anomalies that are taking place right now. Trust me, you could spend your money in Starbucks, for instance, and what a waste of money that is. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it here. I've got more to come in the week. We're going to be hopefully having some deliveries with regards to the cloud generator. So I'll get the organic camera out and we'll do a video on that, and you can see where I'm getting with that. And you know, guys, like I say, links down there. Support the observatory. you know, give us a little push. There's 25,000 of you, but as always, it's not mandatory, but the links are there if you want to help. That's all I'm saying. Guys, have a great week. I'll catch up with you at some point. I'll say what I usually do. Bye for now.